Michigan is inevitable.
Are you talking to me or are you talking to yourself?
Talking to you and me. I'm talking to us. I'm talking to us.
Dude, I realize
you can accept it now or you can accept it then. I don't care. Michigan's inevitable.
I told you this weeks ago. I told you like this when
that was 2023.
When Ohio State lost to Michigan, I said this is inevitable. I don't necessarily think Ohio State is the second best team in the country, but the second we lost to I really thought that we were the only shot at knocking Michigan out of the. I guess had Georgia made the playoff, I would have liked Georgia's chances against Michigan in like a national championship. But otherwise, this is their destiny. This is how this works. That's what like the more you get angry about the cheating or the fucking fake adversity or the Michigan versus everybody, and why does everybody hate us? I don't understand this. Why does
right.
We're America's team, aren't we? The more you get upset about that, the more it fuels them. There was no point during that game yesterday where I thought Michigan was going to lose. Even when Alabama is up by 7 with the ball with 4 minutes left in field goal range, I was like, they're going to find a way to fuck this up because that's what Michigan is destined to win the national championship. They're going to beat Washington by 3 touchdowns.
I think it opens up a philosophical debate, or maybe there needs to be a philosophical awakening in this country where people want to be good and just, but cheating works.
Oh, it works, man.
Cheating fucking works,
by the
man.
way, I've already come to terms with the fact that nothing's going to happen to Michigan in terms of
I got a week that I can talk about them being cheaters. After next Monday, I can never talk about it again, so I will talk about it. But cheating fucking works.
You made the worst deal with Dave of all time.
Yeah.
There was no return for you.
I've realized something.
There was zero return. The deal was if Michigan wins the national championship, you never talk about it again. If they don't, you get nothing.
I've realized something about my interactions with Dave. I'm like a runner in the open field who decides to run out of bounds at the very quickest opportunity. Every time I'm in an argument with Dave, I'm really just thinking in my mind, how do I just exit this immediately? And if it's accept a blood oath that where I don't give anything or where I give everything and you give nothing, fine. Let me get out of bounds.
You're Jalen Milroe on that first third down run where he it was like 3rd and 8 or 10, whatever it was.
He could have stuck his nose in there and got
and he just like slid 3 yards short of the first down.
Yeah. No, I'll give up.
So, to his credit, though, Milroe, Saban must have motherfucked him because the rest of the game when he would run the ball, he just put his head down and was trying to barrel people over.
That game was first of all, it was a war. It was sloppy. I thought it was fantastic. And the committee made a conscious decision a month ago to screw over a team who probably deserved to be in favor of getting more watchable playoff games. I think in that regard, they got it right. Like, this was 2 great playoff games. They came down to the wire. Now, the Michigan-Alabama game was sloppy as hell. The defenses ran the show. The quarterbacks never really could get anything going. Jalen Milroe made more mistakes than J.J. McCarthy did.
Yeah.
And now, thus, Michigan's playing for a national title.
Yeah, I didn't feel like the game was that good until the fourth quarter.
It was one of those.
It was shitty because it was
more close than good.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like a defensive game to me. It was like more of the offenses were just fucking up because it wasn't like the defenses were making. I know Michigan got 5 sacks, like they were, but it wasn't like. It didn't feel like the defense was making incredible plays. It was just like guys are wide open.
I have one major takeaway on that:
receivers and fumbling, and Michigan turned to trick plays so fast in this game, which was shocking to me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
My one major takeaway of that is I think we all agree that Nick Saban is at least in the conversation for greatest college football coach of all time. We all agree with that?
He's top 10 for me.
He is the greatest college football coach of all time. I have no idea how and why Alabama couldn't find a center. Yeah. You can't find a center that can snap the fucking ball? Yeah. Like, it happened all night where he's sending the guy low, he's snapping the ball badly, and then finally at the end, you have one play to keep your season alive, and I think Milroe panicked and Milroe freaked out, but there was a low snap, and Milroe's body just shut down.
Yeah.
He forgot the play. The play went to the left, and he said, you know what? I'm going to run as fast as I can into those fat guys.
Is that what we think? Because I saw the running back was in motion or not, whatever.
It was an RPO.
He could have thrown it. Yeah. He should have thrown it.
You have a guard pulling into that gap to lead you into the end zone if you choose that. You also have 2 receivers out there blocking for this receiver or this running back if you choose that. And both were wide open. Yeah. And he decided, snap's a little low. I'm going to go dive into that guy's asshole.
Yeah.
Then that's what he did.
Shouldn't. That rarely works.
Never. I don't know a lot about a lot.
Rarely works.
But I just don't know when diving into a guy's asshole is the correct play.
I will say, though.
I can't say never. I can't say never, but rarely is it the correct play.
In his defense, if it was 4th and inches,
right? Maybe the asshole works. I don't know.
Probably would have got it. It was a great play for 4th and inches. 4th and goal from the half-yard line. It was unfortunately they were on.
It wasn't even that. Like, they were on the 3. Like the play. At first, I was like, "That's your play call," and then the more I looked at it, like the play call was fine. I think it was just the quarterback kind of freaked out.
The bigger story to me of Alabama's choking was it was less about that final play, and it was more like the defense just completely folded. Like for Michigan to score that easily in overtime is an embarrassment.
Well, that and the final drive was
yeah, the final the final drive, I guess, kind of happens in football because you do the prevent defense bullshit and you don't want to give up the big play and you kind of let them get big chunks and like that. But
Mark, remember 4th and 2 at the 40?
I know. We see that more often in football where like it's the final drive and of course the team always gets it down into the red zone and then whatever. But like for overtime, it's a hard reset. It's you have time to stand on the sidelines and motherfuck your guys and be like, let's dig deep. And for Michigan to just hand the ball off twice and score that easily was
4th and 2 at I believe the 35, 36-yard line. They just defended a play the same way, and then Michigan has one guy who can beat you offensively, Blake Corum.
Yeah.
And the Alabama just said, you know what? No, I'm not covering him. Fuck him. And that I really think the game changed when Alabama had a lead in the 4th quarter. Milrose at midfield. They have a chance to go up to step on their throats and put it out of reach. And Milroe fumbles. Now, Michigan ended up missing a field goal right there, but that just took Alabama's momentum away entirely. When they had it, they had built it up for a quarter and a half. They had it. He fumbles, and the game's basically over at that point. But, yeah, I just feel good. I feel good for Dave Portnoy, man. I feel good for a guy who's just a complete piece of shit asshole and one of the worst human beings you ever see. But whenever a rich guy gets richer, whenever a guy just flaunts and is able to bet $1 million on a game where he can't name 3 players and he wins, I think everybody wins. I feel good for Jim Harbaugh. I feel good for a guy who had to sit out half the season for various cheating allegations. I feel good for Connor Stallions, a guy who's made his entire name by completely cheating the system and being a devious piece of shit. So I feel good for all those guys. It's a feel-good story that rarely happens in sports where you have so many fucking assholes winning at the same time.
I hate that you've taken this from me, by the way.
Hey, I'm just the number 1 college football media
I hate that you've taken the Michigan hatred from me to where I have to be the one that kind of like lets you crazy.
Hey, you can have it too. You can come along with me.
I can't.
Come along. Come on.
After you say all that, what am I going to say?
Come on with me. It's fun. There's plenty of room here.
It will sound like sour grapes because I'm a Buckeye, but I genuinely believe this. So like Michigan is in a vacuum. It feels like they're very lucky, but I am a believer that at a certain point, and we talked about this with the Eagles, which we'll get to in a second because the Eagles are frauds. But like when the Eagles were winning and it was obvious they weren't that good, but they kept winning. At a certain point, you do just say like, yeah, it might be luck, but you can't continue to get lucky over and over.
It's
and over.
no coincidence.
There's something to this.
This keeps happening.
But like J.J. McCarthy getting the ball tipped on that big pass.
How does that happen?
The ball gets tipped, and it's just still a perfect spiral. And if the guy's finger is 1 millimeter to the left, it becomes a duck, and maybe it gets picked off. Like all those, that's how football works. It's a game of inches. Michigan also fucked up a lot of things. I don't know, but if the part of me, obviously, I'm watching this through the lens of like I'm cheering against Michigan, and to have like so many plays be like that close.
Yeah.
And this is the same thing in the Ohio State game where like the touchdown pass that like goes through our guy's ass. Goes through our guy's asshole, out his mouth,
right,
and then he catches it with 2 fingers for a touchdown, and then we strip it, and it's like kind of, and then all these plays keep happening to where, in a vacuum or like in those one specific instances, you're like, fuck this team, dude, they're so lucky. But then I've gotten to a point where I see the bigger picture and I realize they're just destined to win a national championship, and that's just what it is. And that's where we are. You just kind of tip your cap and you're like, I guess they're just going to win the national. This reminds me, by the way, I said this earlier. I do not think Michigan's going to get punished whatsoever by the NCAA. Whatsoever. I don't think this Michigan run reminds me of Kansas basketball winning the 2022 national championship when Bill Self was under an active investigation by the NCAA. The FBI was involved in the investigation. They win the national championship, and the feeling was like, this is fucking hilarious because this is definitely getting taken away.
Yeah.
And then fast forward less than a year later,
They had half a
2 years,
half a swimming scholarship taken away.
Yes, and nothing happened. And it feels very similar to that to me.
Yeah, it is like that. And also, I don't know if it's a secret. I don't know if it's 100% going to happen. I don't know, but it does feel like Jim Harbaugh is about to catch the next bus out of. He's going to win a national title, catch the next bus out of town. When it comes time to punish him, NCAA will say, "Hey, Michigan, you shouldn't have done that," and they're going to say, "Well, that was Jim Harbaugh.
That was Jim Harbaugh.
He left.
Don't punish the kids."
Yeah, we that was Jim Harbaugh. We had nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
and then everybody's going to wash their hands.
And then I mean, in all seriousness, all the players that have been involved in this Connor Stallions era are going to be gone too. Like they're losing everybody after this year. The Michigan, that's not to say they're not going to be good next year. They'll probably still be good, but
I think JJ McCarthy
be a hard
will come
reset.
back and they'll be fine. I don't feel. I feel like he's a guy that's going to play like as many years as possible in college. Like he'll be, and which is happening right now. I mean, Michael Penix, who is we're going to talk about in a second, is 29 years old. So let's talk. Actually, we can talk about him now.
Go ahead.
So we watched the first game, right? And J.J. McCarthy made the plays in the end to win the game. That's fine. But for 4 quarters, he wasn't exactly great. Jalen Milroe was outright bad at times. He was scared to death. And then Michael Penix takes the field and looks like the greatest quarterback that has ever walked God's green earth.
Yeah.
He throws deep balls like they're nothing, like he's just dropping it into their hands. He might throw the prettiest deep ball I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Like he just drops it right perfectly into their cradle every time.
He's the quintessential let it rip quarterback. Well, maybe that's not true because let it rip is like more of a gunslinger. Too,
Yeah,
right? Like
he's
how do you describe?
He's
it?
like the Steph Curry of quarterbacks. Like he has an arc to it. He has a beautifulness to it. Like
he was loud.
He has a Steph Curry quarterback game where he just throws it up and it just falls in there so perfectly and beautifully.
He's got touch.
touch.
Is he cute as hell too, or is that just for Steph Curry?
He's not that cute.
Okay.
He's not that cute. Steph Curry's cute as a button, but no, he's not.
Yeah,
that cute.
he's not a let it rip. Guys are turnover machines that also.
I wonder how many.
Is he a spin it?
He's a spin it guy. He's a quintessential spin it guy.
I think he's a touch guy.
But I'm saying like
I don't know if he's a spin it guy. I think spin it guy is closer to gunslinger.
Okay, so
all right,
hold on.
Okay.
When Penix drops back and the shoulders dip, and he's got the drop back, and you know the deep ball's coming, and there's that like half second where you're like, oh fuck, here it comes. That's a very exciting moment. But you also. When Brett Favre would do that, when Josh Allen does that, those are two guys that you have no idea where the ball's going to go or if he's throwing it into quadruple coverage or not. When Penix does it, you know you're about to see a 70-yard fucking bomb like right into the fingertips of a dude.
All right, so he's between
wherever else he's throwing to.
So there's let it rip, spin it,
gunslinger.
Gunslinger, but let it rip and gunslinger are the same.
I think so, but that's what I thought we were.
Yeah, let it rip and gunslinger are the same thing.
Hash all that out.
And then there's a touch guy, right? I feel like there's a magic guy in there somewhere. There's a guy who it doesn't make sense, but he just makes the right play at all times.
Aren't you kind of a let it rip guy in that scenario?
Who's a let it rip guy? I don't
I think of a let it rip guy as a guy that if you tried him out there on a major league mound right now, he'd throw 97 with some run on it. You know,
But
like
I don't
Mahomes, Allen, or like let it rip.
But Penix isn't going
Mahomes
to throw.
is a let it rip guy.
I don't think Penix is a throw at 97 guy. He's a throw at 89 on the dot guy.
Because like Joe Burrow isn't a let it rip guy, but he's probably like a spin it guy.
Joe Burrow can spin it.
Fuck, dude.
Joe Burrow can spin it, right?
Fuck, dude.
Is he a swagger guy? Is it
An enigma guy?
Oh.
What about guys who throw catchable balls?
I think Penix is the guy that throws the most catchable ball.
How do you throw a more catchable ball?
I think Penix throws the most catchable ball. He might be the catchable ball guy.
Which is crazy because he's left-handed, and isn't that what people usually say about left-handers is that their balls are not catchable because they're spinning the wrong way?
Why do
lefties do they throw it better? We've had this discussion.
Why do left-handers do everything prettier than right-handers?
It's prettier.
Everything is
left-handed
prettier.
quarterbacks are prettier, right?
Left-handed quarterbacks are prettier. Their throws. Matt Leinart had this. Kellen Moore had this. They have a
Tim Tebow.
loft to them. They had a loft to them that was
Tebow,
just
great.
different than right-handers.
Tim Tebow, just like watching him drop back and
Like left-handed jump shots are naturally prettier.
yeah.
And
Tebow, by the way, unless I misheard, as Penix is slinging it, letting it rip, spinning it, throwing catchable balls.
Throwing catchable balls.
As Penix is throwing catchable balls all over the field last night. Sean McDonough sprinkles out the stat that he is now third. I don't know where he ended up, but at one point in the game, he was third all time in Sugar Bowl passing yards for a single game. At the top of the list was Tim Tebow, who threw for 482 yards.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that one.
And
when he said
boy,
that,
that
I
made me laugh.
I was like,
Yeah,
what?
right. You're like, what?
I wonder how many people went to bed last night and woke up not knowing how close Washington came to losing that game.
You're looking at one of them.
Because they were up 37-31. Texas kicks an onside kick, does not get it. Game's over.
I literally turned the TV off at that point. I was like, I can go to bed now.
Game wasn't over.
3 times and then do a punt that like hangs in the air forever.
Yeah.
And then they're going to leave like 7 seconds to go 90 yards.
Exactly what they tried to do.
Yeah.
But everything that could possibly go wrong to lead to Texas having a chance happened. Like the guy, Dylan Johnson, gets hurt on third down, which I listen, God bless him. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know how he's feeling today. You got to helicopter off that field. You got to figure out a way to get off the field, right? Like I don't know. Him getting hurt almost lost him the national title. Like, get off the field.
The idea of like
offensive lineman, pick him up and throw him.
A team setting up for a play and a guy just like barrel rolling over the sideline as the clock ticks down.
Yeah, you got to figure out a way to get off the fucking field.
Do you think these guys know that rule though? There's no way they know.
No,
there's no way.
not.
Like in that
Probably
situation, he's like, if I stay on this field, that's gonna stop the clock.
Yeah.
And the play clock gets reset. Like, I think he's just probably like, surely once I get off the field, we just pick right back up.
I think what it was like was, all right, I'm gonna go. Oh fuck, my leg doesn't work.
Yeah.
And that I think when your leg doesn't work, that changes your thought process about everything.
Yeah.
But anyway, here's the thing about Texas. Texas gets the ball. They go down the field immediately. Just like it was easy. They throw it down the field. They get to the 12-yard line, and Sark and Quinn Ewers lose their goddamn mind. That I've never seen anything like it. They get to the 12-yard line. They throw aggressively. They get there. Now they've got 15 seconds and 4 downs. They throw – the first pass is a 1-yard pass in the flat for no reason. I have no idea why he did that. The second pass is 30 yards out of the back of the end zone, gives nobody a chance to catch it. Third pass, once again in the flats for nothing. And then you got one pass. He throws a 50-50 ball in the corner when a dart would have probably won the game.
But the third one, he was about to get sacked, and he like kind of threw it out of bounds in the flat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right?
Because also the time was ticking, and he knew he needed to get the ball out quicker, or else the game was going to end.
So the first one was out of bounds. No, the first one was
the first one was the flat. The guy ran out of bounds.
Did they throw?
The second one.
I watched it very quickly this morning.
The second one was the one he threw over everybody's head in the end zone.
Yeah.
But even the final one was out of bounds, right? Or was that in bounds?
That could have been caught in bounds, but it would have been. It was a very, very narrow window he was trying to hit. And really, it was a back shoulder. It was dying to be a back shoulder. He threw it up like it was a 50-50 ball, and it was a bad throw. And I
would have thrown it. I don't know, because like as I was watching this morning, I was like, just throw it to where they're not, and then catch it. So I was like watching that final play.
Yeah.
And I did a screenshot.
Yeah.
So I like the guys are moving all over the place, or whatever. But if you just stop the video and just pause, freeze it right there.
Everybody looks open.
Freeze it. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of green.
Yeah.
And if he just would have thrown it there, and then the Texas guy could have come back to the ball, I think you're talking about Texas maybe win a national championship. But instead,
here's what I would have done. I would have done all of that, but way before the whole game, so that you don't even come down to the end.
Yeah.
I would have done that the whole game, like Michael Penix did, who was throwing catchable balls.
You're throwing the most catchable balls. I'm excited for next football season, because I'm gonna work on some brands of. I'm gonna tweet more during football games, and I'm gonna be the guy that, like, if a team goes for 2 and doesn't get it, I say that was a bad call.
Yeah.
And if they do get it,
sounds like you're setting up to be the Rothstein of college.
Right.
Football.
Yeah.
Most people have hobbies. You have college football tweeting.
As Texas marches down the field, and if they would have scored or not, whatever, I'm gonna just fire off shit like that. That's just like, I don't know why they didn't do this earlier. They should have just simply scored earlier. That fumble in the Texas Washington game
was rough.
so funny that the refs didn't see that. That really made me laugh. What else did I write down that was funny? Tits on Bourbon Street. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Do you have something?
I just had a whole bit I was about to do. Should I do the bit anyway?
My bad. Go ahead. Do it anyway. I'm sorry.
I was going to ask everybody to get serious for a moment because last night, lost in the spirit of competition and this great event in America, there were titties on Bourbon Street, and ESPN didn't catch the titties.
They showed them.
they were right there. Okay. Allow me 2 minutes as we can talk about titties, okay? Because there's a special thrill when titties sneak through the censors. When titties get out. Remember the titties in the World Series? Oh God, that's just when titties show up in unexpected places, man. What a great time to be alive.
When was the Janet Jackson Super Bowl?
2004.
It was 04?
Oh yeah, 2004, January or February of 04.
That was cool.
Yeah.